Hey everybody, it's Pastor Joel here at Union Lutheran Church. I just want to give you a little preview of what I'm going to talk about this Sunday. This Sunday is the second Sunday of Easter, and every year we hear the same message from John 21-19. And it's the story about the disciples who are hiding out of fear of the Jewish authorities after Jesus has been crucified and buried, and Jesus makes a resurrection appearance to them. They're hiding in this place. They're behind closed doors, locked doors, and yet Jesus still finds them. So we have Jesus showing up. Jesus says, "Peace be with you." Jesus speaks to them, shares the Holy Spirit with them. But one of the disciples isn't there. Thomas, who's called the twin, isn't there. And so when he gets back and Jesus is gone, the disciples talk to Thomas and say, "Thomas, we saw the Lord. He came back. He was here." And Thomas says, "Unless I touch the holes in his hands from the marks of the nails and put my hand in his side from where the spear was stabbed into his side, then I will not believe." So 8 days later, Jesus comes back to the same place, and this time Thomas is with them. Jesus says, "Do not disbelieve, but believe." Yes, disbelieve. Usually we hear the word doubt. Do not doubt, Thomas. We often nickname Thomas Doubting Thomas. But my sermon this week is that it's not about doubting, but it's about unbelief. Yes, the word in Greek is pistos, for belief. You put an alpha in front of it, you put the apostos, and it just means unbelief or disbelief. So think about the difference between disbelief or unbelief and doubting. Doubting is when we're not sure of something. We're not quite sure if what we think about it, if it's real or things like that. Doubting is natural. Doubting is something that we all do, and doubting is part of our faith. We cannot have perfect faith. We hope God helps us in our faith, but we can't have it perfectly in our lives. So we're going to have doubts. Everybody, other pastors, bishops, whoever, people have doubts. And that's okay. It helps us ask questions. It helps us grow in our faith. Doubts are okay, and doubts can be helpful to us to strengthen our faith and to grow in our faith. But disbelief is the absolute refusal to believe something. Kind of drawing the line in the sand. I refuse to believe. I am unwilling to believe. I am unwilling to accept what you have told me. It's a level of unwillingness in ourselves. Not that we struggle and want to believe it, but we just can't quite do it. We're doubting. No, this is a refusal to believe unless you give me something to prove it. And this is what Jesus is saying we should not do. We want to keep our hearts, our minds, our ears, our eyes open to what God is doing. We may doubt sometimes. We may have our struggles with faith. But we want to keep our hearts and our minds open to what God is doing in us and through us and all around us. So there's a pretty good chunk of what I'm going to be talking about this week. I challenge you to read the text and to think about it in a different way. Disbelieving Thomas, not doubting Thomas. Because doubting Thomas then makes all of us feel as if anytime we have a doubt, we're no good. So that's what we're looking at this Sunday. I hope to see you everybody Sunday morning at Union Lutheran Church. Worship begins at 9:30, and then we'll begin our Bible study. Our kids will have their Sunday school. Adults will have their Sunday school at about 11 o'clock with a time of coffee, donuts, refreshments in between. So God bless, and I hope to see you soon.